And on Sports Central, we're going to go over 5 reasons why the Florida Gators will go on to winning the college football playoff in the 2020-21 season. And as you know, we'll go over 5 reasons in this video. They will not be in any particular order. So that being said, let's look at your number 1 reason, and that's going to be Kyle Trask, their quarterback. He took over last season after their previous quarterback, Felipe Franks, got injured. And obviously, it looked like Felipe Franks was going to be their main starter for the entire season until he got injured. And it ended up being a good thing for Florida as Kyle Trask led this team to a great season overall. Florida obviously was one of the better teams in the nation last season, let alone in the SEC. So, yeah, certainly for Kyle Trask, he's got a ton of potential heading into 2020, knowing how last season was his first main year of playing. Man, yeah, he's got a ton of potential heading into 2020. He does lose a couple weapons, though, but he does get a couple of 4-star recruits, though, so that's going to be really good for their receiving core, which we'll go over that in a couple minutes. But yeah, his 2019 stats, 2,900 yards with 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. His completion percentage was 66.9. So yeah, once again, Kyle Trask is a really great quarterback, and I think if Florida were to win a title in 2020, Kyle Trask would be a good reason why. Moving on to your number 2, it's going to be the offensive line for this Florida team. They only lose one offensive lineman from 2019 in Nick Buchanan. And obviously for Florida, they didn't have the best offensive line in 2019. Probably they were 5th or 6th in the entire SEC as far as offensive lines go. But they do return about everyone for 2020, which if you can return any big position, certainly that's going to be big going into the next season. And in this case for Florida, I think this offensive line will improve a ton heading into 2020. They have a couple of 4-star offensive linemen coming in as well, so you got to note that too, which the related recruits, as you can see below. Isaiah Walker Jr., he's a 4-star, .931, and they also have another 4-star in Joshua Brown coming in, .905, and they do have a 3-star. I thought it was worth mentioning, Richard Leonard, of course. He's the 3-star there, .863. So yeah, I certainly think Isaiah Walker should be able to get a starting position next season, especially since it's a higher 4-star. So yeah, you got to notice that. But yeah, this offensive line, once again, I think for Florida will improve a ton heading into 2020. If this offensive line can play well, that'll help Kyle Trask a ton. And if Kyle Trask plays well, this entire team, I think, will play well. So yeah, once again for Florida, number 2 reason is going to be the offensive line. Moving on to number 3, we got the recruiting for Florida, and I've already rambled on about how good this recruiting class is so far. They've got an 8th ranked recruiting class in the nation right now, according to 24/7 Sports. And yeah, their average recruit rating is just over .9 at .907. They have landed 1 5-star along with 16 4-star recruits. So yeah, typically at that point, you typically see 1 to 2 5-star recruits, but look at that. They got 16 4-star recruits. That's going to be huge for this team heading into this next season. And yeah, some honorable mentions here. Of course, their 1 5-star is a defensive tackle, Gervon Dexter, which he has a .995, which is just about as good as you can get. So yeah, he's going to be a major player for this team. They also got Derek Wingo, 4-star linebacker, .971. You also got a new receiver in Xavier Henderson, 4-star, .97. They also got a cornerback, a defensive back in Jahari Rogers, 4-star, .963. And they got another receiver in Jaquavion Frazers, which he's also a 4-star, .932. So yeah, you got a couple of really good wide receivers coming in as well. Even though you do lose a couple of receivers from 2019, certainly getting a couple of new weapons for Kyle Trask will be huge heading into 2020. And he's got those in Henderson and Jaquavion. So yeah, certainly for Florida, I think they'll be just fine in those positions. But yeah, especially that defensive tackle, Gervon Dexter, I expect him to be a big impact on this defensive line heading into the 2020 season. Number 4 is the linebackers for this Florida team. They have only 1 loss in the linebacking corps from last season. They had one of the best linebacking corps in the nation in 2019. As you know, of course, this defense was one of the best in the SEC, one of the best in the nation. So yeah, certainly this linebacking corps is looking great heading into 2020. They bring in a couple of big-name recruits. And once again, we just went over Derek Wingo. He's the 2nd highest recruit on this team going into 2020. He's a 4-star, .971. They also got a couple of transfers coming in. They got one from Georgia and Brandon Cox, and he was a 5-star back in high school, so that's going to be huge. They also got Noah Keeter from UCLA, so they got 2 really good linebackers coming in from different schools. So yeah, certainly this linebacking core is looking really, really good heading into 2020. It certainly will be a big bright spot of this defense. And to a defense that was already good in 2019, it's gonna have a big impact on this team. And yeah, it's certainly for Florida, I think this team has got a good chance of going really far, especially with this defense. Speaking of which, number 5 is going to be the secondary depth for Florida. And they return their entire defensive secondary except for safety Jaywan Taylor. And this defense in general was one of the best in the nation in 2019 once again. They were really good in just about every position. We just went over the linebackers. They're bringing in a 5-star defensive tackle, and then this secondary is basically returning everyone. They're also bringing in 3 4-star recruits along with this. Once again, we also went over Jahari Rogers a couple minutes ago. He's a .963 4-star. They also bring in Ethan Pouncey, another defensive back, 4-star, .928. And they also bring in safety Rashad Torrance, the second, also a 4-star, .895. So, yeah, once again, the secondary is looking really good heading into 2020. And just as I said with the linebacking core, I think this will be a big bright spot for this defense. And certainly, the only thing you got to worry about on the defense right now, I'd have to say, is the defensive line. Obviously, I mean, they had a really good defensive line already last season, and they're bringing in a 5-star recruit. That's going to be really good. And also, I think they lose 2 to 3 starters from 2019, so that did not make this list. But yeah, honestly, the X factor for this defense is the defensive line. If this defensive line can play well, I certainly think Florida could have one of the best defenses in the nation, probably a top 3 defense, to be honest with you. But yeah, nonetheless, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to slap a like on it, subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, thank you all for watching once again. Stay tuned for more analysis and everything, and I will see you all later.